Hello everyone. Welcome back to episode 2 of our Gutes campaign. Last episode, we got cornered on the northern tip of Ireland. Not necessarily cornered because our goal was to bait the Ebdanians out of Eblana, and they somehow, still a mystery to me, they actually came, they left their town in order to face us in the field. And it wasn't necessarily like a belligerent action, they just, I guess it actually makes sense, because we sailed over and landed on their island with a massive army of Gotlanders, and they were like, holy shit, what the hell is this? Just like 3,000 dudes just landed on our coastline, and now they're making a camp? What the fuck? So they marched out with their own army, outnumbering me ever so slightly. There is actually 3,440 men in this army, just outnumbering me by under 500, I want to say. And they camped close enough to us that they could keep an eye on us. So Ragnarr, after a heavy night of drinking, awoke to find smoke in the sky from a neighboring camp, and he just fucking got rip-roaring mad because, as we all know, he is a berserker. So he's hungover and ready to fucking kill some Ebdanians, so he's declared war and charged against them. Unfortunately, the Ebdanians, both armies are currently encamped, led by Duratius as well as Vicenius. Now, Vicenius has a smaller force of 1,100 men, and apparently women, as these portraits are showing me. And my plan here is to feint an attack against Duratius in order to draw out Vicenius, who is apparently the king of the Ebdanians. And while Vicenius is trying to reach the fort of his ally, we can intercept him and his smaller army and destroy them and potentially just leave. We could probably just leave the battlefield in the hopes, the vain hope, that Duratius would follow us, or alternatively we can circumnavigate around Duratius, we can circumvent him and get between him and Eblana, because the worst thing that could happen is Duratius retreating and garrisoning the town again. Alternatively, depending on the shape of our army after we destroy Vicenius, we could just attack the fort directly. But I would rather not do that, because the towers on forts are horrendous. They cause more casualties than anything, I find. But anyway, let's quit rambling and get onto the battlefield. Before we begin the battle, I have another Gute fact for you. Are you ready for another Gute fact? You should prepare for it, because it's a fucking zinger. I'll see you guys in just a moment. As I understand it, there is a linguistic link between the Gutes as well as the Goths that suggests a common ancestor. Of course, the origin of the Goths is kind of shrouded in mystery. We're not entirely sure where they originate from, but as I said, this linguistic link sort of suggests that perhaps they came from, if not Gotland, then maybe the area near on the coast of Sweden, perhaps. I don't know for sure. I'm not sure if I'm reading this correctly, but in the Old Norse dialects, East and Western, the words used to describe the people of Gotland, the Gutes, is the same word that they used to refer to the Goths. They're used interchangeably, that being Gutar and Gotar, depending on which dialect. So that's interesting. It sort of suggests that the Goths and the Gutes are at the very least cousins with a common ancestor. And as I understand it, perhaps there's a similar link with the Geats as well, but I didn't really read too much on that. So I thought that was interesting. Of course, if any of that is incorrect, let me know. Now, we're going to start the battle. I assume that Vicenius is going to come from the southeast. He could just be coming directly from the east, or potentially even the northeast. So we're going to have to scout a bit with our cav. I just want to be okay, he's coming apparently right behind us. So what we'll have to do here is build a defensive line. We'll take the high ground with the cav in an effort to flank them. and we will have to possibly just rotate our entire formation around. Something like that. Okay. We'll get the skirmishers on the flank as well. Something like that. And like this. Shazam! Now we can have the old axemen in the center with our friend Ragnarr. Okay, so we are ready to receive the troops of Visenius. Let's march forward with our archers in order to get some volleys off. I think we'll have to intercept their archers with our cav, just to make sure they don't get too many volleys off. Let's speed things up a bit. Sort of like that. Okay, we're going to charge these archers with this unit. And we'll move on and flank. We're going to get intercepted by the Celtic band here, but we'll just sidestep them completely. Wonderful. I think we'll get the skirmishers to march forward in skirmish mode, of course. Again, we're going to get intercepted, so we'll have to sidestep actually the warlord, Visenius himself, the king of the Abdanians, trying to chase off my cav here and failing miserably. I just want to prevent these archers from getting too many arrows off while we shred them ourselves. Okay, looks to me like these Celtic levy are trying to get fresh, so we'll intercept them with our Nordic axe warriors. We'll get our skirmishers to take care of them, and I think we may be receiving some fire from the enemy catapult in the fort. I'm not sure. We've received some casualties already, but as far as I know, I didn't see any missiles flying, so arrows or otherwise. I'm not sure where that's coming from. Okay, we want the axes to move quite quickly. Okay, we routed that unit of archers. Let's... Oh god. We're getting charged by spears, and we need to flank around because we are, in fact, receiving a few volleys of arrows. Here come our axemen in order to chop down those Celtic levy. Let's prevent our troops from getting too carried away here. We want the skirmishers to skirmish with these other Celtic band and not throw javelins in the back of our own men. That would be ideal if they did not do that. I actually would prefer if we threw some javelins at Visenius and then we got our archers to shred the Celtic band. Here we go. Okay, so we've got 2 units of cav free here, which we can use to skirmish a bit, and then we'll get these guys to swing around and get these archers to move because they're getting a little fresh with their arrows. Okay, we'll get our cav to throw a few javelins. We've charged the enemy archers and engaged them, and they are probably going to sit still long enough for us to be intercepted rather by the enemy. So let's prevent that from first and foremost. Okay, so it looks like Visenius is trying to charge my skirmishers. Let's get some axemen in place. Shit, we did in fact get charged. Oh no, we did not. We're still engaged. Still engaged with the archers. I just want to throw some fucking javelins at these Celtic band, but it's not working so great. I think we can probably sandwich these Celtic band with our cavalry. Here we go. Okay, let's try not to get engaged here. We're still receiving a few casualties from volleys. Somehow we lost 11 men out of the other unit. I'm not sure how that happened, but regardless, looks to me like Visenius engaged my archers and received volley after volley of javelins in the ass. So that's just fine. Except we are actually taking quite a few casualties in that unit, and I didn't quite notice, so that's unfortunate. So we lost about half our men out of that archer unit, but we did engage Visenius, and we've cornered him with all of our axemen. And we have actually received a few casualties in our cavalry units, and I don't think that's anything we cannot replenish, of course. Visenius has broken, so it's time to engage with our cav, get our axemen back. So this has gone swimmingly, obviously. And I think we could probably just retreat off the field entirely and see what the other Abdanians do. They're just sitting in their fort right now, and if at all possible, I would not like to engage them in that fort. They have missiles, they have walls. I think at this point we do outnumber them, but of course, why would we engage the Abdanians in their fort if we don't have to? You know what I'm saying? So we have just killed Visenius, and now we can get into position and shred this last unit of Celtic Levy. Lightly armored, a very small shield bonus, I think. Celtic Levy. And then, of course, we can fuck off the field. Volley after volley, tearing these guys apart. You're tearing me apart, Lisa! Just a quick, you know, room reference. I feel as if I have to make a room reference every couple of videos, just to, you know, keep it lighthearted. I think we'll try to skirmish the cav as well. Let's see if we can get a few jav volleys off. You would think that the Abdanians would rush to the aid of their king, but maybe he was not well liked. I don't know. It's entirely possible that that is the case. I think once we get a volley or two off here, we'll be fine. Throw your javelins, you assholes. Apparently, they are not in a fire at will mode, and thus did not throw their javelins. Look at that. That's my very own fault right there. Okay, that's one fucking volley, that's another volley, and we had a bit of friendly fire, unfortunately. A little bit too much friendly fire, but it looks like we caused a few casualties, and the archers are now doing work. Let's get our axemen involved. They can probably intercept. The skirmishers, not so much. Let's keep them back. We can even get Ragnarr himself out, just for the fucking the hell of it. Why the hell not? And look at that, we're taking these Irishmen down slowly but surely. And again, I don't know if Irishman is technically correct at this particular point in time. I may just charge these guys with the cav, honestly. I think they'll break. If I do, there's only, what, 70 of them left. They're shaken. They're in a loose formation, it seems. Let's seal the deal here. Get our spears to retreat. All of our troops to retreat, hopefully in the right fucking direction. That would be ideal. Sometimes I find the troops in Total War just don't know where to go when they're retreating. They try to retreat off the far side of the map, but I think this is more a problem with some of the earlier Total Wars. Oh, there we go. Some of the earlier Total Wars, like Medieval 2 and the like. Okay. I didn't even necessarily need to charge these guys a couple of minutes ago, but here we are. We've just taken out these Celtic Levy, and they've shattered, and we can fuck off. There we go. So we have killed exactly the entire army of Visenius has just been wiped off the face of the fucking planet, which is wonderful. I'm not entirely sure how far we will be able to move, or if in fact we can navigate around the other general. Begins with a D. I don't know what its fucking name is. It's Descenius or some shit. Something like that. Something absurd. Anyway, guys, like I said, we'll leave off the battlefield. Leave off the battlefield. Good God, we are going to exit the battlefield, and I'll see you guys on the campaign map. Unfortunately, due to the somewhat binary nature of the Total War battle system, this was in fact a decisive defeat, despite the fact that we killed nearly 10 times the men that we lost. So I think we'll have to, we'll be forced to retreat, which is going to actually use up all of our movement, interestingly enough. So, what the fuck? There's like 50 guys left of Visenius' army. How useless. How is it they didn't rout? I'm not sure. Okay, so I assume that Duratius probably will... He's probably going to chase me, I would think. but then of course he could retreat back to Ablana as well, which is always a possibility. Anyway, I think we have time for one more turn, or possibly 2 more turns, depending on what Duratius does. So I'll just see you in, yet again, another moment. I don't know what the... Bizarrely, the Abdanians have not moved at all.
Ready for battle.
Somehow they're not aware that we can just move around them. Also, weirdly enough, the Picts have declared war on the Franks, or alternatively, the Franks declared war on the Picts. I don't know why this would be. Perhaps the king of the Franks insulted the king of the Picts. He called his wife... He just called her Scottish, and that was enough to set her off, I guess. Or set him off, rather. Ragnarr has recruited an artist. And for whatever reason, this portrait of the artist always reminds me of... I believe his name is Alfie Allen, the guy that plays Theon Greyjoy in Game of Thrones. Let's see. Well, you can't see it because his face is obscured by a massive circle with a 1 on it, which I have to say is quite... It's quite fortunate that he is not afflicted with that in real life. You imagine every time you try to talk to him, you're like, Alfie, if only I could see around that 1, my man, I would know whether you were handsome or perhaps you have a disfiguring scar like our son Wolfgar. Not that you necessarily need to see the handsomeness of Alfie Allen. Unless, of course, you're trying to date him. You're trying to hit on him as a man. A homosexual man, I would assume. Okay, what kind... Do we want Ragnarr to be an infantry commander? Or... well, he's not going to be a governor, so I assume that we want him to be an infantry commander. Or perhaps he can become a despoiler. Ooh. Now we're talking. If we make him a despoiler... See, here's the thing. I was actually considering maybe we could just sack Ablana and then move on to Britannia. No, I don't know. It just makes much more sense to me to settle immediately. Oh shit, I totally forgot about Efredir. And Vikingir, that's not a name. That's definitely not a name. That is just a title. That is a name or a word used to describe the warrior class of these cultures. Vikingir. It's not a name. I understand Wolfgar, Ivar, Ragnarr, these are names. Vikingir, that's not a name. That's like naming your son Soldier. Which is actually quite a... I would name my son Soldier if I had the last name like Ravenwood or something. Hi, I'm Soldier Ravenwood. That's a pretty badass name. Remington Steele is a fucking badass name. And I'm not sure... I hope to God that's not a porn star name, because that would be embarrassing. But I think it's actually like a character of some kind. I can't remember Remington Steele, who that is. Okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna say, good job, Ragnarr, on your rank. We'll drink a horn of mead in his honor, and then we're going to just circumnavigate. See, here's the thing. Without their king Visenius to direct them, apparently the Abdanians are just... there's no leadership at all, and they just don't know what to do. They can't tell their ass... Oh, okay, hold on. Hold on here. There's a lord here by the name of Moratex. Holy shit, that's a pretty sweet name, too. Oh my god, my frame rate has just shit the bed. Why? Oh, it's recovered. Okay. Apparently it was at the mention of the name Moratex that my frame rate just fucking hit rock bottom. Can you imagine if your name was Moratex? Hi, I'm Moratex. Moratex Soldier. Okay, there was something else I wanted to look at. We're just going to encircle for a moment. I think we will not have time for this battle this episode. I would suggest to you guys that you think of a swell name for Ragnar's army. The Lightning Riders just makes me cringe so hard. my spine actually turns into a horseshoe, and the top of my head sweetly and gingerly kisses my buttocks. That's how hard I cringe when I hear the lightning riders. Oh my god. It sounds like a biker gang, but they're not quite cool. They think they're cool, but they're not quite cool enough to be a part of that culture, and thusly they're sort of a joke in the outlaw biker community. Sort of like a suburban Hell's Angels, which, as far as I know, actually has quite a large European presence, which I would never have thought, like in the Netherlands of all places. But I could be misremembering that. I think, for the time being, we'll just end the video for today. So, everyone, think of a good name for an army led by Ragnarr. And also, think of a second name for Ragnarr. We need to found a dynasty. We can't just be the Gutish kingdom. We need to be the Gutish kingdom led by a long line of blank. Strong blank men. It's a bit of a Mad Lib, that. You know, kind of like the Carolingians, the Carolingian dynasty, all the other ones in medieval England and France that I'm suddenly blanking on. The Plantagenets, that kind of thing. Also, please leave a like, leave a comment. I'm still monitoring the feedback on whether this series will continue or not. Anyway, that's enough rambling from me. We're nearing the 20... My timer says 28 minutes, but I know that's incorrect. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Leave a like, leave a comment. That will ensure the series continues. And as always, my name is Incoherence. This has been episode 2 of the Gutes campaign, and I hope to see you all later.